Hi there, Tracy here with two layouts to share with you. Today I'm going to be sharing two double page layouts. This is the first one. These are both pages that I made last weekend at the live stream that I did with my patrons. So if you follow me over on Patreon, then you know that every month I do a live stream with my patrons. I also do a Zoom chat every month with my patrons as well. But this month, the July live stream was a little bit special. I dressed up 80s and we all celebrated the 80s because I was planning on scrapbooking some phase of life memories. So here's the first layout that I did. And for this one, I actually used a sketch. So this is a sketch in Christine Davidson's book. It's Creative Scrappers Creating with Sketches, and this one is volume 4. And now she does not have these available in hard copy anymore, but you can still buy the ebooks, so you can check her out. I will actually put her book right up here so that you can see it. There's the website, and that's her most recent book. Is called Just Sketches, and it doesn't have the most recent one doesn't have the inspiration layouts to go with it. It's just sketches, so that's why it's called Just Sketches. So I used this sketch as my jumping off point, and as you can see, I really kept with it. The only difference is that I put journaling here instead of a photo, and this is the inspiration page. It happens to be a page made by my BFF, Stephanie Hart. So I was really inspired by her work as well as Christine's sketch, and this is what I came up with. Now, for this one, I used the Heart and Hustle collection from Amy Tangerine, which I have here it's in a hip kit bag, but these are just my leftovers. This is an older collection, but I really love it. It has a real kind of fun, youthful vibe to it, so that's why I wanted to use it scrapbooking the 80s. So what I did here is I actually made a mistake when I was matting my white. I cut it down on two adjacent sides, which is what I usually do if I'm doing a single spread, is I will cut half of an inch off of this side and half of an inch off of this side and then center it on a piece of cardstock. But in this case, because I was wanting to put them up against one another, I now have too much space on either side here. So that's a mistake that I made, but I don't really mind it. It doesn't look too bad. It doesn't really look like I didn't mean to do it, so it's fine. I matted my journaling on black cardstock just to give it a little bit more presence on the page, because otherwise it would have gotten kind of like lost on the white background. These are letter stickers. I think they're from Dear Lizzie, but they might be from the Heart and Hustle, but they're just stickers that were in my collection. And these are they're felt dots, also from the Heart and Hustle collection. And all that I did here was I just cut a piece of 12 by 12 paper on a diagonal and put it on this page right here. And then I just cut some strips and used those to anchor these photos. I went on the internet and found some photos of Madonna and some photos of Michael Jackson. These photos were specifically chosen because I refer to them in my journaling. So the first paragraph is about about Michael Jackson and how I used to lay on the floor on my belly on my elbows propped up looking at the album and reading the liner notes. And then further on in it, I talk about how I found this photo somewhere. I think it was in a magazine or something of him with all of his Grammys and had it framed in my room. So that's kind of that. And then the lower journaling goes with the Madonna photos. I have a little story to tell about my friend and how I wanted to get her the Like a Virgin album for her birthday. And I just also kind of printed up these two photos because in it I'm kind of talking about how controversial Madonna was, particularly Catholics were offended by her dress and that sort of thing. So I just kind of talked about that. So I chose these two photos because they kind of showed that kind of era of Madonna and what I was trying to talk about. So this was a fairly simple and really, really fun page to put together. As you can see, very, very little embellishment. And typically my double pages have very little embellishments, but it was a lot of fun to do. And now the second page that I did also has an 80s theme. And for this one, I used Pink Fresh Studio. The collection is, which collection is it? It is the Keeping It Real collection. And I didn't necessarily think that these phrases were exactly what I wanted, but they didn't clash with the story I was trying to tell. But what I really liked about this paper more than anything was just that kind of like 80s vibe that it has with circles and dots and the colors and the arrows and stuff. It just felt very kind of 80s to me. So I wanted to use that. And I think, I can't remember if I used a sketch. I think I started off thinking that I would use this as my sketch, but did I end up using a sketch at all? I don't think I did. I can't remember. Yeah, I don't think I did. I think I started thinking I would use a sketch and then I ended up not using a sketch at all. But anyhow, I put my journaling over here, and I had this patterned paper left over from a Simon Says Stamp card making kit from February of 2022. And I had a very small amount of it. So I just cut the strip in half, and then I just sized my journaling and fully justified it so that it would kind of like line up with the paper. So the paper could be kind of like a header and a footer for my journaling. And then I also had these in my stash. These are denim. I think you can see the texture. They're fabric embellishments. They're from the Hip Kit Club. And I also cut out these stars from a piece of patterned paper, also from the Hip Kit Club. This paper here, I think is Amy Tangerine, but not from the Heart and Hustle collection. It's from a different collection. And then I used my all-time favorite, or one of my all-time favorite thickers, which is Twilight. I love these. They're almost gone, but I do love them. And I was able to spell out mixtape. And this journaling is all about how important mixtapes were for me at that phase of my life. And then just a little bit about a friend who we used to make mixtapes for one another. I wanted to just like add some framing to this. So I added a strip of denim colored cardstock just for my stash on either side. And I was having trouble because I was going to use the cardstock in another way, but it was faded on one side. So I had to kind of be flexible with how I used it. I ended up tearing strips and putting it down the side. And then to kind of give it more of a denim look, I just did some double sewing down the edge there. So what I did with this one, again, very minimal embellishing. I matted my journaling with this star paper. This is from Ali Edwards' Star Scrapbooking Kit from 2021. And then I matted all of my album art and the tape. I just got these photos online. And I matted all those with the same star paper. And then I made this strip across the middle, matted it in This Is That star paper that I then cut the stars out of, and added basically 3 clusters. So I've got a cluster right here that kind of further directs your attention to the journaling with the arrow there. And I have a cluster right here with just the jean pocket and a little flag and a flower. And then up here, I just have another one of those little denim tabs, and it's layered with one of the cutout stars. So each of my 3 clusters has a little bit of denim in it. And then I also wanted to make sure in both of these pages that some things cross the divide. And I like that on a double spread just to kind of emphasize the fact that it's a full-size spread. So this will, in my album, it will sit like this with the rings for the binder in between, but you can kind of like push your layout together like that to look at it in the album if you want to. And I like having a little bit of this. You just want to make sure that you're not cutting down the center of somebody's face when you do that. And I was also careful to place one of my stars so that it would also be cut in half, just to kind of emphasize that continuation across the page. And I did do that with this as well, right here. So I had this part spread across the divide so that it became clear that it's all part of one layout, especially with this one where it has a definite chunk over here and a chunk over here. Including this and bringing it across the divide really does help to make this page look cohesive. And then also putting this second smaller diamond, or not diamond, this smaller triangle up here in the corner also kind of helps to pull it together, as well as the overall matting around the outside edge of it. What I'd like to do is show you where I'm going to put these. So over the past couple of years, I have been doing a phase of life project over on Patreon. It's called Through the Years, and this is not the album that it's going to live in forever. This is just the album that's holding it for now. I hope that that tape isn't going to make a huge mess. Nope, it's not. That's good. This is where I've been keeping these layouts. So I thought I'd do a little flip through before I stuck these most recent layouts in the project. So what I've been focusing on for this project is different ways that you can kind of dive into your history, especially if you don't have a whole lot of photos, because I don't have a lot of photos from my childhood or from my high school years. And so for me, I really wanted to document some of my high school years, but I was really struggling with how to do that. So I gave it some thought and I ended up making, it's kind of like a mini course, and it's over on Patreon. It's a Patreon exclusive, but I'll just share the pages with you guys. Each page over on Patreon comes with a lesson about, you know, how to document or think about these memories, and kind of giving a lot more ideas than just what I did. So I kind of give a lot of alternatives. And then it also comes with a process video. So this is the first one. It's called Memories, 1990 Fashion Statement. And this one is like, I didn't really watch this show, but it kind of, I thought that it captured the fashion of the day really well, because I think each of these people have different personalities. And so, you know, I thought that this one photo really covered a lot of the different looks that were popular at the time. I graduated in 91. So, you know, kind of spanning the late 80s and into the 90s is when I was kind of coming of age, I guess. This is a page about the house that I spent some time in when I was in high school. And so I did some journaling, and I didn't have any photos of the house. So I went on to Google Maps and printed up a photo of the house today, or well, it was that day whenever I did this. It was a couple of years ago. And I also printed up the map, and I just showed different parts, different important points on the map. Like I used to walk from there to there to catch the bus and that sort of thing. Then I wanted to document my high school itself. And so this is another lesson about, you know, things to think about and what to include in pages like this. And so for this one, I added lots of these Amy Tangerine little puffy stickers and fun little embellishments to go along with it. And I just printed up a photo of my school and a map between the house that I lived in and my school. And then this is where I waited for the bus in this awful, ugly parking lot. I spent a lot of time in that parking lot every morning waiting for the bus. Then this one is called Under the Influence. And in this one, I just talked about all of the different musical and television influences in my life at the time, focused on Saturday Night Live as one of the TV shows. I didn't really watch a lot of TV in high school, but always watched Saturday Night Live. And then these are some of the tapes that I had that were kind of influencing me. This is just something that I stuck in there because I really liked this wood grain paper. And then this is something that just kind of reminds me of my dad. So I just stuck that in there. This is in the news. So these are all stories that were happening when I was in high school. The Prime Minister of Canada was Brian Mulroney then. There was the Exxon Valdez oil spill, the Ecole Polytechnique massacre, and George W. Bush was the President of the United States at the time. For this one, I documented my first job, and I just stamped that out with alphabet stamps that I have. And I went online and I searched for pictures of the store that looked like it looked when I worked there, which they look completely different now, and the logo from back then, as well as I was even able to find somebody wearing the outfit that I wore when I worked there. So I thought that that was, and even like this background, like we had that clock, like this could have been my store. And in fact, I used to bake cookies and our oven looked just like that. So, and with the rack, with the cooling racks right beside it. So this really, even though it wasn't my store, this is a great photo that I found for this. So then also in this album, I have a few other projects that are just like not part of that. So I just put my most recent spreads into this project here. So obviously I need another single page to go here. Then we have the 1984 double page spread right here. Then we have the mixtape double page spread right here. And as you can see when you're looking at it, you can squeeze them together if you want to kind of get the overall look of how the pages look as they were sort of designed to be, just by holding them like that. But they don't look too bad with the rings in the middle. Thanks so much for watching. If you're interested in checking out my Now and Then mini class over on Patreon, you can go over, check out my Patreon because it's actually very, very affordable. I use a pay what you can tip model for my Patreon. So it's not really a membership per se. It's more just an opportunity for you to support me and get some bonus content in return. And so you can do this for as low as $1 a month, and you can kind of do it for 1 month, look at all the content that you want for that month, and then you can actually cancel it the next month if if you've gotten your fill over that 1 month. So that's kind of a good way to get access to these pages if you're interested in seeing the process videos as well as the lessons that go along with each of these. So the work one doesn't have a lesson, and then these two don't have lessons either, but the real-time process video and the live stream for this is included over there as well. So that might be an option that you want to look into if you want to check out some now and then phase of life scrapbooking. In the meantime, take care and have a really great scrappy week.